All right, hello everybody. In this presentation, I'll be discussing the organizational design, structure, and change of a company that was founded here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's called Discount Tire. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Awesome. So the agenda for this presentation, first we will identify the issue. Then we will discuss the ramifications and consequences of the issue, the effect of organizational structure, design, and culture, then the embodiment of conscious capitalism, an improvement plan for the issue, how we're going to manage challenges implementing that plan, and finally, the strategies for leading teams and fostering collaboration. First, we will identify the issue. A major issue that Discount Tire is currently experiencing is working to overcome is the lack of innovation. Discount Tire is a private family-run company that has maintained what some may call an old-fashioned way of doing business since it opened in 1960. Discount Tire is founded upon the core principle of maintaining the individual customer focus and warm personal touch you'd expect from a neighborhood store. Despite being America's largest independent tire and wheel retailer with over 1,000 locations across 35 states. Discount Tire's immense success is largely due to its superb focus on the customer experience. However, in recent years, it has become apparent that competitors in the tire and wheel industry are steps ahead in terms of technological innovation. While the company continues to grow year to year due to its distinct competitive advantage, in order to ensure long-term success, Discount Tire needs to address its lack of innovation by catching up technologically so it is not overshadowed by competitors in the coming years as technology continues to improve. Moving on to ramifications and consequences of that issue that we just mentioned. Discount Tire's lack of innovation is evident in its outdated technologies and its reluctance to invest in new technologies being adopted by competitors. As customer demands and expectations continue to expand, so must the technologies that drive the company's operations. It is critical to satisfy emerging customer expectations, such as the ability to book appointments online or the ability to view live inventory and make purchases online. Convenience is a huge factor to consider regarding today's consumers. A company's ability to meet the customer where they are is becoming increasingly important and is largely dependent on technology in order to make that possible. Discount Tire recently upgraded its nearly 20-year-old IT and point-of-sale systems. Due to a shift in customer demands and expectations, the old systems can no longer serve customers in the same capacity while striving to reach these heightened expectations. The expansion of the company itself highlighted the need for these changes as well, due to the insufficiency of the old infrastructure to support the company's over 1,000 locations and 18,000 employees. The need for innovation in the form of technological advancement is abundantly clear, and so are the consequences of not pursuing these technological advancements. Discount Tire understands that if it fails to improve in this area, its distinct competitive advantage of providing top-tier in-person customer service may no longer be enough to counter this shift in customer expectations. This is evident in statistics revealing that upwards of 80% of Discount Tire customers begin their experience with the company online at discounttire.com. Moving on to the effect of organizational structure, design, and culture. Discount Tire's culture, structure, and design are unique and in many ways deviate from what you may find in a more traditional organization. Discount Tire has remained a private family-run company as long as it has existed. Discount Tire is founded upon the core principle of maintaining the individual customer focus and warm personal touch you'd expect from a neighborhood store. Most companies as large as Discount Tire do not possess the same customer-centeredness, nor the same positive and uplifting internal culture. Michael Zubak, chairman and former CEO of the company and the late Bruce Hawley's stepson, notes that Discount Tire hires people who like people because that attitude creates a strong team that will support each other. Bruce Hawley, founder of Discount Tire, was known to visit stores and get to know each employee, what their interests were, and about their personal lives. He woke up every day thinking about how he could help someone who was struggling or give recognition to an employee's achievement. Caring about others was his passion, and it spread throughout the company. Discount Tire's structure, on the other hand, is unique in that it tends to hire and promote within the company. Rather than seeking talent outside of the company to occupy higher level positions, as many other traditional organizations today would normally do, Discount Tire seeks to hire people within the company who understand the ins and outs of the job on an operational level. This ensures that executives and upper management make decisions in the best interest of all employees at every level within the company. In more traditional organizations that seek talent from outside the organization, there's a far greater risk of there being a disconnect between executives and lower level employees, which can result in poorer work conditions and lower job satisfaction. This would certainly compromise Discount Tire's core principle of, again, maintaining the individual customer focus and warm personal touch you'd expect from a neighborhood store, which is why it is woven into the structure of the company. Discount Tire's attention to employees and customers has certainly yielded high levels of organizational effectiveness despite shifting customer demands and expectations. The company has seen consistent growth and continued expansion over the years, even while battling the need to innovate. Although innovation has not been a primary focus for the company over the course of its lifespan thus far, upon founder Bruce Hawley's death in 2018, the company has seen an increase in innovativeness as a result of having to bring in outside executives with fresh and more innovative perspectives. Impressively, though, Discount Tire has succeeded in preserving the heart of its company through its signature culture and structure, while managing to implement new initiatives aimed at advancing technologies used by the company to improve the customer experience even more. Moving on, how does Discount Tire embody conscious capitalism? Or more specifically, how does Bruce Hawley embody conscious capitalism through his leadership? Founder Bruce Hawley certainly ingrained the principles of conscious capitalism into the heart of the company, and it is clear that those principles are still prevalent today. The four principles of conscious capitalism are higher purpose, stakeholder orientation, conscious leadership, and conscious culture. A higher purpose defines a company's reasons for existing beyond just making a profit. It views profit as a necessary means to achieving the purpose, not as an end in and of itself. Discount Tire's core principle of maintaining the individual customer focus and more personal touch you'd expect from a neighborhood store represents a higher purpose that employees are called to. Focusing on the customer and creating a warm and personal touch is a goal quite contrary to making a profit. Making a profit is necessary for the continuation and survival of a company, but this is not necessary. Rather, it is a way to rally people together under a joint organizational purpose with the intent of making a positive impact on the world. Discount Tire also embraces the principle of stakeholder orientation. Bruce Hawley demonstrated a commitment to the human foundations of business by recognizing that a business needs to create value with and for its various stakeholders. This is evident in the way Bruce Hawley centered his company around his two most important stakeholders, customers and employees. It is also worth noting the significance of Discount Tire being a private company. If it were public, Discount Tire would not be able to focus so intently on the needs of these two primary stakeholders by having to focus additionally on the demands of shareholders. This, in my opinion, is how the company has managed to preserve its family feel, even in this very corporate age. Bruce Hawley is undoubtedly a conscious leader. One of his most notable quotes is, "There are really just 5 simple lessons to life. Be honest, work hard, have fun, be grateful, and pay it forward." A conscious leader is one who understands and embraces the higher purpose of business and focuses on creating value for and harmonizing the interests of the business stakeholders. Bruce conveyed the higher purpose of Discount Tire through his actions and intentionality with employees and customers. He consistently embraced these principles and was a respected leader by many, both inside and outside of the organization. And lastly, we have conscious culture. Conscious culture is the ethos, the values, principles, practices underlying the social fabric of a business, which permeates the atmosphere of a business and connects the stakeholders to each other and to the purpose, people, and processes that comprise the company. Discount Tire prioritizes connection with employees, customers, and between employees and customers. It knows the importance of the employee and customer connection, and all of the employees from frontline to corporate are all bought in. Discount Tire embraces an exceptional culture in which employees are always valued and appreciated, and customer satisfaction is of the utmost importance. Moving on to an improvement plan. To bring about meaningful change, Discount Tire needs to implement initiatives aimed at increasing innovation. A useful model to guide this process is Kotter's 8-step change model. Here's how the model can be integrated into the plan to solve this unique issue at Discount Tire. First, create a sense of urgency. It would be important for the leaders of Discount Tire to stress the consequences of failing to innovate. It will result in a poor customer experience. Customers cannot be served as well as they could be if innovative technologies are implemented. Customers will look elsewhere because their demands and expectations are not being met. That is the urgency. That's why it's important to be innovative at Discount Tire. Building a guiding coalition is the second. Passionate employees of Discount Tire must be rallied, and support must be strong for the push to be innovative is to be successful. Number 3, form a strategic vision. Forming a strategic vision involves clarifying how the future will be different from the past. Employees must be informed of the changes and how they will affect day-to-day processes and operations. Enlist a volunteer army. Again, this highlights the importance of rallying support around the push for the company to be more innovative. Number 5, enable action by removing barriers. Discount Tire will need to remove knowledge barriers by training employees extensively on how to use these new technologies. Number 6, generate short-term wins. Employees' utilization of the new technologies must be recognized and rewarded. Employees must know that their efforts and contributions to the innovation of the company are welcomed and appreciated. Number 7, sustain acceleration. At this point, Discount Tire will hopefully have attained a higher level of innovation. It's important to ensure that this is not a one-time thing, but rather an ongoing process. Innovation is continuous, and the company must always be looking for new ways to improve the customer experience technologically. And then finally, institute change. Replacing old habits can be difficult, but these new processes must replace old processes completely to represent a strong commitment to innovation and moving forward. Managing challenges. Because Discount Tire utilized its previous technology for so long and is a bit behind the curve, it will undoubtedly be challenging for the company to successfully integrate these changes into their routine operations. Part of the difficulty will stem from the knowledge barriers presented by the new technologies. Employees, again, must be extensively trained to know the ins and outs of these new technologies. Also, something that should be considered is employees may express resistance to the changes. This may happen for a number of reasons, but most commonly it stems from poor communication. Discount Tire must cultivate a culture of transparency whenever feasible and share information as often as possible with employees. Without it, employees can become defensive, lack trust in leadership, not have adequate time to process the information, which leads to even further pushback. And additionally, the impact on customer experience must be considered and prioritized. While the intent behind implementing these technological changes may be to enhance the customer experience, in some ways the inverse effect may occur. That is why close monitoring of the response of customers to these new changes is crucial to ensure the changes are having their intended effect. And lastly, let's talk strategies for leading teams and fostering collaboration. Bruce Hawley is an excellent example to refer to for this. Hawley fostered a positive culture by inserting his values of respect, fairness, and a willingness to always pay it forward into the heart of Discount Tire. Hawley was very committed to upholding his personal values and translating them into the organization. His consistency in upholding his values, even as the organization grew exponentially over the years, goes to show that his values were always at the center of what Discount Tire is. This ensured a steady culture at Discount Tire despite the many changes that surely occurred over the course of its existence. And here are my references. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.